So at this point, I've made at least 8 or 9 videos on an anime original ending for AOT, but now instead of theorizing about whether or not it's going to happen, instead I'm going to be theorizing how it's actually going to happen. So yes, this is a pretty generic idea because the Warhammer Titan theory was something that was very popular before AOT's manga ending actually came out, but regardless, I'm going to be talking about how it could be possible for an anime original ending and how it could really just be the best way to bring about this new ending for the story, and even the most convenient way for Mappa Studios. Because to be honest, in order to complete the Warhammer Titan theory, they only really need to modify the last 2 chapters, maybe add a little bit of foreshadowing in between, but at the end of the day, they just need to fix the last 2 chapters up into being a new ending, add some more content, and that's that. It's not like they have to rewrite everything from like 131 or something. The final season part 3 doesn't have to be entirely different from the manga if you're going to go with something like the Warhammer Titan theory, which I do honestly think is a very good idea for the anime original ending. This might honestly become a series where I go over possible ways for AOE to happen, but just know that more AOE videos are coming because the final season part 3 should be coming out sometime this year, and I'm waiting on a trailer, and I feel like when that trailer drops will be a great time to start the discussion, or to destroy the discussion if they just confirm that we're not getting one, which I highly doubt. Now let's go over the Warhammer Titan theory, the original Warhammer Titan theory that came about before the manga ending. So in chapter 137, Armin nukes the founding Titan and stops the rumbling, and when these chapters were originally airing, the main idea was that people thought Eren would awaken from a crystal on Paradise Island and touch Historia's baby, who would now have inherited Zeke's power of being a member of the royal family and inheriting a Titan, as Levi had just killed Zeke in that chapter. So it makes sense that once Eren comes in contact with a Titan of royal blood, then the rumbling would continue again. Now obviously this would be huge because the Alliance wouldn't be able to counter what Eren has just done, because of course he's in Paradise Island and the Alliance is like hundreds of thousands of kilometers away trying to fight the Titans instead of going after Eren himself, because they thought Eren was in the founding Titan but he's actually in Paradise Island. That would be insane. Now obviously this didn't happen in the manga, but what it did was leave a huge plot hole in the story, and that is the power of the Warhammer Titan. The Warhammer Titan was introduced only in season 4, and the previous inheritor of the power only lasted like 1 or 2 episodes, and she was really just a filler character, and it seemed like the power was really just introduced for Eren to get the power and just to be stronger than he usually is because he has a new Titan power. It didn't really make sense to me why go out of his way to give Eren such an overpowered ability just for him to use it like once to get out of prison and another time to fight. That's kinda weird. But it would make a lot more sense if Eren had used the power of the Warhammer Titan, which causes the person using the power to go into a crystal and be connected to the actual body of the Titan instead of residing in the nape. Then that would make a lot more sense, because now what happens is Eren uses the founding Titan power from Ymir, he uses the attack Titan power from his father to see into the future and manipulate him, and he uses the Warhammer Titan power to store his real body on Paradise Island while the founding Titan is going on doing the rumbling, and this manipulates the Alliance into thinking that he is in the founding Titan when in reality he's on Paradise Island. And so when they stop the rumbling and bring their guard down, Eren goes and touches Historia's newborn baby who has inherited Zeke's Titan and restarts the rumbling. That's the essential idea of the Warhammer Titan theory, and if you've heard this for the first time, it probably sounds insane, because to be quite honest, I don't see how Isayama can do this and for it not to make sense. It does make a lot of sense. It ties in a lot more unconnected plot holes together. It even benefits the fact that Eren should have been the father of Historia's baby, which to this day I think Eren, if his goal was truly to destroy the entire world, he should have been the father of Historia's baby. There's no denying it. I understand that he's been with Mikasa since the beginning of the story, but narrative wise it just does make way more sense for Eren to be the one inheriting Historia's baby instead of some random dude whose name we don't even know. Now this is really beneficial for the people at Mappa Studio animating the anime original ending, because again, everything just stays the same until 138. 137 stays the same. We get all these amazing moments up till 137, because in my personal opinion, contrary to popular belief, I think that when the battle on the Founding Titan starts, the rumbling arc is really good. I think that maybe until chapter 130 it's a little bit slow, but that does make sense considering we came off the biggest climax of the entire story. But once we hit 130 and go until 137, I think that's one of the best stretches in late Attack on Titan. And I do think that it would benefit Mappa Studios and the anime for Attack on Titan to keep that part of the story in the anime instead of completely wiping it out and starting something new, which obviously also increases the risk of them messing something up that they really shouldn't have even bothered with, while they still could have made an anime original ending. I hope that makes sense, but if they do decide to change things up from 131 and change up the entire part 3 from the manga, I really hope to God they do it right, because if they don't, the whole point of AOE is ruined. Like, to be honest, I don't just want to see Eren destroying everyone with bad writing. I want to see it all make sense and tie into the whole timeline theory that we've been setting up since the manga ending. The whole reason for those additional pages in the manga must have been for this anime original ending, because if we got a happy ending that concluded everything properly without the continuation of war, why on earth would we need a new ending? Why would Eren need to loop back into a different timeline to end this cycle? Now, another part of this theory, especially for AOE as a general thesis, is that the Alliance themselves do end up dying in this new ending instead of what happened in the manga where it was just Eren dying. So in a way, they're like reverses of each other, and there are slight hints in ANR that might signal towards this. An example of this is when Eren is climbing into that new world, where that new area, that civilized area that we see in the music video, things are upside down, which kind of signals like a reversal. But the biggest reason is that we see a bunch of graves that Eren is visiting towards the end of the music video. That just seems to me like it's the grave of the people of the Alliance, and it's Eren visiting those graves and living somewhat in regret for his decision. Because as we know, Eren's character does revolve around protecting the people he was with since the beginning. But another part of his character also revolves around destroying the humans outside of the walls who enslaved him for his entire life. So it would make entire sense for Eren to feel some sort of regret towards killing the people of the Alliance. And if we recall in the manga, the final chapter, it seemed as though Eren wasn't really conscious of what he was doing when he was in the Founding Titan, so it would make even more sense if the Alliance died trying to fight him and he didn't really know he was trying to kill them. However, I'll leave that to Isayama and whatever they decide to do with the anime. Now, this theory is a very popular take in the community. People say ANR is going to be the reverse of the manga ending, where the Alliance dies and Eren survives, and obviously in the manga, Eren died, but the Alliance survived. Now, if you think about it, the entire Alliance was on the verge of death until chapter 139. Everything was a tragic, very bitter ending until 139 came along and just reversed everything that happened in the previous chapter, ruining a lot of the tension that we got. That's one of my biggest criticisms with the final chapter, and it's that characters like Gabby, John, Connie, and the whole community of people that came together to try and fight the Founding Titan all turned into dummy Titans. But then in chapter 139, the roles just got reversed and they became human again. So what was the point of that whole thing? So if AOE was to be fulfilled, then instead of having everyone be turned back into regular people, I think it would be really cool to see someone like Levi end up having to kill John, Connie, Gabby, and all these people, because Levi really seems to be the person who continues to lose the people around him without really showing that much emotion. I do think that Reiner would also possibly die from fighting the worm. I think it's much more in his character to die in the end than to survive in the end. Unless if he survives in the end, he finds some meaning in his life, which in 139 that also didn't solve. So I think simply by continuing this stretch of tension, AOE itself could be fulfilled just by having Reiner, Gabby, John, and Connie die along with the other people that got turned into pure Titans. Characters like Armin, Annie, and Peak, I don't really know. Specifically Annie and Peak, I feel like they could die, but even if they don't, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Only reason I kind of left Armin out of that equation is because I don't think Armin really should die, because he is the narrator for the anime, so it just makes sense for him to be the last one standing alongside Levi. Levi's survival must be paramount because it's just in his character to survive everything that happens whilst having to see the people around him die. I just think that's perfect for Levi's character. Now, obviously, we are going to predict that Mikasa is going to die, and this has been a prediction that's been around the community of AOE for a very long time. And the way she dies is obviously Eren kills her, which is again a reverse of the manga. Now, Mikasa's dream here should be something different. They might be scenes from the manga timeline, because in the manga, they were scenes from the previous timeline. So it makes sense that in her final moments, she sees glimpses of the previous timeline and understands that this whole thing has been going on consistently over and over again. And instead of trying to kill Eren, she feels as though her death is necessary for Eren to achieve his goals. There's another theory going around the community that Mikasa is the one actually looping Eren from timeline over and over again, and this connects to Love, which is the heavy inspiration for Attack on Titan, where the main girl in the story, I believe her name is Misaka. My bad. Correction. Her name is actually Sumika. Is the one responsible for looping the main character in Muv-Luv. So these connections all tie in together. Mikasa could be the one looping Eren, or she couldn't be. But at the end of the day, she has to die in this anime original ending for things to make sense. If she doesn't die, I feel like all this foreshadowing with the butterfly being stomped out in the opening for the final season part 2, and the butterfly being in Mikasa's OVA, which is, I believe, confirmed canon by Isayama. I don't know, like, this foreshadowing just will not seem realistic if Mikasa doesn't die in the anime original ending. She doesn't have to for it to be a good ending, but she does if it's supposed to make complete sense. After all, I think the only reason she really brought herself to kill Eren was because she knew that his life would continue in the next timeline, so she knew that she would see him again. And what's so interesting is that Mikasa tells Eren, see you later, because she knows she's gonna see him in the next timeline. And then when Eren wakes up in the anime, he recognizes that Mikasa's hair has gotten longer, because the last time he saw her was in the previous timeline where her hair was much shorter. And if you recall, in the final scenes of 139, Mikasa is crying because she wants to see Eren again. The next time we see Mikasa and Eren together is in the anime timeline. It makes too much sense. And again, that ties in because if Mikasa is the one looping Eren over and over again, then she can simply kill Eren in the manga, get over what just happened, and then loop him back to the anime, and everything starts all over again. And again, that's why Eren woke up so shocked in the anime, because he just saw himself getting killed in the manga. Now, this is the end. This is how we get 100% confirmation AOE is happening. Mikasa climbs into the mouth of Eren's colossal titan, all to find that he's not there. You see, instead of having that little snake looking thing being Eren's main body, which made no sense, Eren just isn't there. And we get that crazy AOT music and we loop all the way back to Paradise Island. The camera pans back to Eren getting out of the crystal. I don't know how he gets out of the crystal, but hey, he's got the founding titan. He can basically do anything. He gets out of the crystal, approaches Historia's baby, and maybe reveals that he is the father after all. But at the end of the day, he touches the baby, hugs it, says that line saying you are free, just like Isayama hinted to us many years ago, but it ended up being just some lame panel in the middle of the chapter. And what happens is the rumbling continues, Alliance dies, and we get our AOE. I think it's too good not to be true. I think it makes too much sense. All the foreshadowing leads towards an AOE happening, and I think this is one of the best ways for it to happen. But let me know in the comments your thoughts on this potential theory and this potential way for AOE to happen. If you enjoyed the video, drop it a like, and if you're new, subscribe. We're making more AOE content on the way, and I hope you enjoy this one. Take care, and I'll see ya.